Right, so hello and welcome back to Books and Things and welcome to another video, and today I thought I would just do a bit of a channel update. So, there aren't too many things I want to say in this video, but I wanted to have a quick chat about vague channel stuff and also a couple of new video series that I am planning on starting in the future, just to kind of introduce them all in one place here. So, the first thing I wanted to mention is that videos may be a little erratic in the next few months. I'm very busy at the moment in life and at work, and there's just a lot of stuff going on, which means I'm slightly struggling to find time to film. I do seem to be managing to find time to film. I have had 2 videos up a week for the last few months, and obviously 3 videos up a week in October, though I did pre-film most of them quite a way in advance. But I am slightly struggling at the moment to find the time to fit in filming and editing, just because there's a lot of other things taking up quite a lot of my time at the moment, which shouldn't be the case forever, but just for the next few months, sort of until spring next year, I expect things may be a little bit irregular, and sometimes there may be 1 video a week rather than 2, or even none. Hopefully not too often. I hope I will try and find time most of the time, but just so you're prepared, if ever I'm absent for a few days or a week, that's just because life is getting a little bit busy. And talking of not having that much time to film, that does of course unfortunately mean I'm not going to be doing Vlogmas this year. I did Vlogmas last year and really enjoyed it. I found it really fun, but I just do not have the time to do it this year, sadly. Or to be honest, the video ideas, like last Vlogmas, one of the reasons why I did Vlogmas was because I had so many video ideas and I wanted to like use them all up so I had space for new video ideas, whereas now I feel like slightly the opposite has happened, and because I have just been very busy the last few months, I haven't been like coming up with as many video ideas as normal. So on that note, if anybody has any video ideas or recommendations or suggestions, please do leave them down in the comments and I will have a look, because while I do always have video ideas, and the new year itself brings with it many standard booktube videos, which I'm always very excited to make, like new yearly reading goals and best books of 2019, which I'm really excited to make. Those are always some of my favourite videos of the year to film, but still, any other video ideas and suggestions would be very welcome. Although, like I said, I am planning on starting 2 new video series in the near future, so that to come later on in this video. The other thing related to busyness that I wanted to talk about is reading. You may find in the next few months that my wrap-ups are slightly shorter and that I'm talking about slightly less books. I'm not sure if this will always be the case, but certainly like my November wrap-up, when it goes up next week, I will only have like 4 or 5 books to talk about. Possibly 6, but probably 4 or 5. At the point in the month when I'm filming this, and there's only a few days left to go, I've only finished 4 books that I can talk about. I have read a lot of books this month, but nearly all of them were for work. And I'm finding at the moment that I'm slightly struggling to balance my sort of work and fun reading. So for those of you who may not know, I work in a publishing company. I work at Bonnier Books UK. I've been working there for just a year now, exactly a year, which is very exciting. And I knew when I started the job that it would be hard sometimes to balance my reading for work and my reading for fun, because I do read a lot of books for work, and I was kind of expecting that. And some months I don't have as many books to read for work, and some months I have a lot of books to read for work. And I think sometimes in the last few months I have got to the point where I'm reading lots of work, and therefore I feel like I'm not reading enough things to talk about on BookTube, and therefore I'm putting pressure on myself to read more of the books that are supposed to be the fun books that I don't have to read for any particular purpose, that are not for work, and also feeling like I have to finish a particular book that is a book for fun by the end of the month so I can include it in a wrap-up. I need to like not worry about that so much, because I don't really think any of you mind that much if I talk about like 5 books in a wrap-up rather than 10. I don't think anyone minds, right? So I'm just gonna try and take that up a little bit more easily. For 2020, I'm gonna try and give myself less reading goals per month, and just trying to like rebalance my work and fun reading, and making sure that the reading I don't have to do for work, I don't like set myself as required reading, and give myself deadlines for in the way that I might give myself deadlines for work reading. So there's that. Anyway, moving on from general busyness to two new exciting video series that I'm hoping to start very soon. Those of you who have been watching this channel for a little while will know that I have a series called 5 Victorian Novels About, where I talk about 5 Victorian novels that deal with a particular theme. And I thought that I would start doing the same for contemporary books, so I'm going to have my 5 Victorian Novels About series carrying on, and also a just 5 novels about series, where I'll talk about basically contemporary literature and 5 books that deal with a particular theme or a particular motif, or just have something in common, which I've been meaning to kind of do for ages with kind of themes that I really like and always look for in books. And I just thought this was a nice, sensible way to do it, and it will kind of match with my 5 Victorian Novels About series, which will be nice. So I have already filmed one of these videos, which will be up in the next week or two, and then I will try and think of some more themes or aspects that I like in contemporary literature. So if anyone has any ideas or suggestions or things that you would like to hear me talk about, particular themes in contemporary books, then let me know down in the comments, and I will think of more videos to make for that series, which I'm really looking forward to. I think it'll be a nice, fun thing to do. I really enjoy making the 5 Victorian Novels About videos, and I think I'll really enjoy making these too. And I also think they're quite nice because I know quite a lot of my videos can sometimes skew a bit long, and sometimes my videos are about 20 minutes long, and I know that if I talk about 5 books in a video, it's probably not going to be more than like 12 minutes long, which I think is quite a nice video length, so I feel like they're nice, good, medium length content. So yeah, I'm looking forward to starting that. And then the other video series I'm going to be starting is going to be a Victorian one rather than a modern one. I think I said I was going to do this ages ago, like a year ago, possibly 2 years ago. I said I was going to start a series on my channel called something like Victorian Feminists. Obviously I know the word feminist is inaccurate and anachronistic when you're talking about the Victorian period. Obviously what I'm talking about is proto-feminism, but that doesn't sound as catchy for a series title, so we're going to call it Victorian Feminists. And basically the idea is that this video series will be 1 book per video, and I'll be talking about a Victorian novel or a Victorian play, any kind of Victorian fiction, possibly non-fiction in the future, we'll see. Any piece of Victorian literature that I think deals really, really interestingly with gender in a way that I think could be considered proto-feminist, or at least sort of ahead of its time and challenging Victorian gender roles or Victorian gender ideals or Victorian gender power dynamics, anything like that. I am obviously really interested in Victorian gender, which is something I've spoken about many times on this channel. I love the Victorian period. I'm fascinated in everything in the Victorian period and every aspect of Victorian literature, but one of my favourite themes in Victorian literature is gender. In my degree, I wrote my dissertation on the presentation of gender in Charles Dickens's books and how that changes from his early to his late books. I've always been really interested in gender in the Victorian period, and I thought it would be nice to have a series of videos, 1 book per video, which is specifically focusing on gender in Victorian literature and specifically focusing on kind of proto-feminism or Victorian novels which challenge gender norms, I suppose, would be the main thing that would link all of these books together. I've also been thinking for a while about a different way that I can talk more analytically about Victorian novels on my channel. Those of you who've been here for a while may remember I tried my not so hypothetical Victorian literature course videos a while back, but I didn't really feel that they were working. And then I've also had my Dickens serialised Victorian style read-alongs, which I really enjoy, and I enjoy doing the kind of close textual analysis elements. But while I enjoy making the videos, I don't enjoy reading serially that much, so I've decided I'm not going to carry on with them anymore, which I think I've mentioned on this channel before. But I would like another different video format to talk a bit more analytically about certain pieces of Victorian literature. And because one of the things that I'm always very interested in analysing in Victorian literature is gender, I thought I would start this series. So I'm not going to promise how regular these videos will be. I'm not going to read books specifically to make videos about them, because that's what I ended up doing with the not so hypothetical Victorian literature course, and I just ended up like feeling a lot of pressure to read really long Victorian books for a particular purpose and like by a particular date. But basically every time I read or reread a Victorian book that I think looks really interestingly at gender and kind of challenges Victorian gender norms, I will make a video about it. And the idea is that the first half of the video will be analytic but entirely spoiler free, and then the second half of the video will be full of spoilers and more analytical. So I'm going to start with Dombey and Son by Charles Dickens because I've just finished rereading this. I love this novel a lot. I also think it's fascinating in terms of gender. I think it's really proto-feminist in many ways, and also Dickens has a really bad rep for being really sexist. Quite a lot of Dickens's books, especially his early books, do have not great portrayals of like gender roles and are quite stereotypical slash like buy into a lot of Victorian myths about gender difference. However, I do actually think that Dickens, especially in his later works, becomes quite proto-feminist in some ways and is really interested in the kind of women's rights and equal rights for women, and interested in exploring how the institution of Victorian marriage can damage women. So I do think like he's really worth talking about when we're talking about proto-feminism in the Victorian period, even if there are lots of like caveats. So I feel like one of the things I want to do in these videos is not just be like, this book is proto-feminist, here's why, but kind of say, is this book proto-feminist, and let's talk about it. On the subject of are things proto-feminist, I'm going to link down below a video that I watched recently from Petra Yu called Is Jane Eyre Proto-Feminist? Because I think that's the kind of thing I want to do, just talk in a bit more detail and a bit more analytical depth about particular Victorian novels and how they kind of challenge Victorian social and gender norms, and up to which point they do and at which point they stop doing that, if that makes sense. I think this could be really exciting and I'm looking forward to these videos. Like I said, I'm going to start with Dombey and Son. I will then see, I'm not going to say how regular these will be, but there are a few books I have in mind, either to read or to reread and make videos about in the future, but I don't want to like force myself to reread a particular amount of books within a particular timescale because of, you know, said busyness. But I'm looking forward to the series. I think it'll be fun, and I want to make a really long video about Dombey and Son because I love it and it's amazing. But before that video goes up, you will also have my November wrap up, which, because I've only read 4 books so far this month that weren't for work, is mostly just going to be me gushing about Dombey and Son, so yay. And I think that is all for now. I feel like this video has been longer than I thought it would be. I thought I had nothing to say, but I appear to have just chatted about gender in the Victorian period, as usually happens when I turn on a camera. So yes, let me know down in the comments your thoughts on these ideas and projects, and if you have any video suggestions or requests, please let me know as well. And yeah, that is it for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back very soon with another bookish video.